If you quietly cooperate with me, I guarantee you won't make an appointment in an ugly state. Haha, what a funny thing to say. Who needs him to maintain his beauty? Am I also frowning when this guy criticizes me? I want to block this guy so much. If only there was a block button in real life, it would be great. Because then I won't have to listen to these nonsense. The Mudman understood what it meant. He began to return to his slimy state, then rushed to attack. To be honest, I still much prefer using torture. Is not a waste person. She quickly realized that this guy was made of mud. What do you think? He asked proudly. Then it turned into a swirling mud tornado. Am I still wondering if I don't like it? Always has the momentum to jump high. She thinks creating distance will help. The Mudman used his mouth full of dirt again to shoot mud bullets at Ion. The Ion has now been removed. She screamed and chewed and calmly answered him. That's exactly what she thought. After stuffing the last piece of chocolate into my mouth, the power of ions becomes enormous. Terrified, she created a large ball of energy to confront the mud bullets. To the Mudman's surprise, the sludge he shot exploded like a fire bomb. Shoot all the way to him. Shocking that amazing firepower is still usable even though it's so far away. He thought about using this kind of power. Surely that girl consumed a lot of energy. So don't use it continuously. You are wrong again. Ion stuffs a bar of chocolate in his mouth. The hand has already peeled another bar. The other hand launched fire to pin down the Mudman. No missed shots, making him startled. Ask yourself that, little girl. In the end, how many chocolate bars do you have in you? But you can eat it continuously like that. Wait until she eats all those sweets. He probably also met 18 generations of his ancestors. If so, the only way is to kill quickly and win quickly. I just saw him suddenly rush forward. Don't know what the plot is. She quickly took a defensive position. There's no point in attacking directly. Suddenly shouted in surprise. Looked down at the feet of the stationary ground. Suddenly turned into mud. The name of the Mudman. Sinister laughter transforms mud storms. Surrounded by a veritable mud tornado. Mud splashed up and weighed down her body. Ion. Realized that you need to quickly leave the eye of the storm. Just as he was about to attack, mud covered his arm, making her unable to fire anymore. The Mudman smiled complacently. The farm was completely covered by a mud storm. Wait until after the storm is over. She was covered in mud. He only had his eyes and nose open. Seems to have passed out. Did HR see it? The battle lasted longer. My power causes even more mud to secrete, surrounding me like a sweet trap. Does this father have delusions of power? There is a handful of mud that is so sweet. Even though she's dirty like this, she still looks adorable. The Mudman exclaimed at his new work, still reaching out to touch. I am so that I want to have her. Right when he was still laughing crookedly, Juwan rushed in like a god and give him a merciless punch. The Mudman was thrown into the wall. Do not touch. My comrades fell to the ground in the ditch. Juwan angrily cracked his knuckles and swear with all facial expressions. The Mudman crawled up and scratched his head lazily. What's wrong with you? You'd better run away. You already lost earlier, so why come back? Mudman. No interest in including Jungwon in the collection. He was openly hostile towards him. Who cares, but I'm on my way here. I was calculating how I should beat him. Juwan releases his powerful energy up the entire muscle mass of the body. Somewhere else. Haste carried his sword somewhere. In the headquarters of the Guardians. Haste seems bored with nothing to do. They said they had infiltrated the Union. But I don't know if they are okay or not. At that moment she saw the cleaning staff standing in front of a room door. Just come and ask what's going on. The cleaning staff stammered. Maybe she can't practice here today. Looks like Mr. Rodicy used it to get some steam inside. Hester didn't listen to him anymore, but rushed inside to see what Juwan did. Hester thought, "There's nothing about Juwan that makes me like him." I unconsciously grimaced and tried to ask what he had done. What to do when practicing. Seeing the room beaten into a shabby heap. Cracked above, broken below. Hat was extremely surprised. What the hell has he been practicing? Juwan is very confident with the results achieved. After turning that room into this, the Mudman heard what Juwan said, already planning how to beat him. Then he smirked. "You have a ridiculous way. You must listen to other people's advice. I already told you. Your power can't do anything to me." Jung-won also smiled complacently. "No one knows what will happen in advance. Why don't you check it out for yourself first?" As he spoke, his arm released lightning. "It's very scary, okay?" The Mudman accepted responsibility. He took a deep breath. "Prepare for the mud bullet performance. Like the water lilies in the game Brand vs. Zombie. If you're good, go up to the dike." At the end of the sentence, he shot mud like a machine gun. Juwan bent down and reached down to scratch the ground. Kicked up and knocked away all of his mud bullets. Very good at doing that. Much better than clumsily dodging. The Mudman did not hesitate to praise Juwan, but at the same time, he also quickly changed his state to pure mud. To attack you. He rushed straight into Juwan like an empty place and was proud. "But let's see how you can block this attack." Then showed a creepy smile, while spreading out a tangled network of mud. Juwan stood still and motionless. "Just let the mud stick to your body." The Mudman wondered again. "Didn't you say there was a way to defeat me? Standing still like an idiot is your plan. So what's different from last time? A good drama must be watched to the end. Dude. Thus others will judge it as being hasty. That's no different from last time, huh?" Juwan raised her arms high and pulled away strongly. The enormous energy he radiated, making mud splash along. Just one note. There was no longer a grain of sand left on his body, let alone mud. The Mudman was quite surprised by this. He let out a loud noise. Juwan twisted his shoulder and tilted his neck and smiled. "Let me show you. The streets are peaceful." Then an entity of unknown shape appeared, rushed in and collapsed the entire street. The scar has a drooping shape. The Mudman also fell freely. Follow the pile of dirt and rocks in the row of houses. This time it seems he can't raise his voice anymore. Having received a painful blow, the man crawled like a dog, muttering and growling. Juwan didn't give him time to recover. Immediately rushed forward with his fist. The Mudman quickly shot mud with his mouth. Aimed to extend time into distance. Juwan immediately reached out his other hand. Throw away mud bullets. Just like hitting a normal ball. The Mudman's face appeared dull. The mud no longer sticks to the boy's body. "Why did you fly so suddenly? Just now, that little guy. It's also easy to remove all the mud from your body. That bastard is hiding his true power." While he thought, Juwan's fist was approaching. The Mudman still thought he was just an anonymous guy. Just a little bit of ability. Punching him won't do any good. "So what is this situation, Dad?" Jung-won just punched him. The Mudman exploded like a bomb. The body goes after the body, but the head goes after the head. In real life, those who crow early often eat shit. Reduce it later. While the body was blown away piece by piece, the Mudman was still bewildered. Yo believes what just happened. Juwan's fist didn't just tear the Mudman to pieces. It also conveniently creates a large pothole. Just long on the road. From a small pile of mud. The Mudman rose again and called out the sound of Mars. Wonder how Juwan is so strong. Haven't asked the whole question yet. Juwan aimed straight at his face and punched him. Thunder again. The Mudman did not have time to recover what had just fallen. Once again, the cannon shattered and cried loudly. Your universe can only recover like that. This time it was Juwan's turn to despise him. Let's see who will win. Mudman, trying to recover what has fallen out. But the mud was knocked out of range by Juwan. He can control. If we keep draining power like this, of course he cannot preserve his life. He thought it had to end quickly. Then, a secret move to transform mud and storms. Now what kind of fight are you gonna fight? Juwan didn't expect it. His mud storm. It's possible to create so much mud. If this place serves mud baths, it's all over the place. Unfortunately, he is a criminal. You have some strength and then show off. The mud man who had been eating onions was also very bitter. This time, Juwan didn't move anymore, he went up. My face will bury you. Until you suffocate in my mud storm. The mud tornado reached as high as the sky, swallowing Juwan whole. He took a deep breath. Strong muscular arms with lightning strength. Swing a strong punch at the center of the storm. Terrific energy radiated from the punch. Directly extinguish the mud storm. At the same time, the road surface has another sinkhole. My style. Why do you guys keep hitting me in the face like that? Until Ju Gold withdrew his hand. The mudman only had a few frogs left. Enough to open one eye to look at that tough young man. Why are you so confused? How come he's a hero in training? Why not stop the mud tornado with wind pressure? It's not okay, I have to leave now. Where are you going, you rag? Juwan, of course. Don't give this enemy a chance to escape. But what happened immediately? The mudman was also frightened. Then he laughed again as if he had gone crazy. Well, he's already sick. Moreover, the disease is not mild.
Okay, Janu lo say it?
He can't fight you. He admitted defeat but didn't stop there. But then what? You didn't do anything other than knock me out. What else? Even if you punch me for 100 days, it will be useless. So disgusting. Why did Juwan smirk at him? He doesn't know, but you know. Even when in just TCS form. Or my true form. So we can't use 100 of our power. I still don't have full control over my power. But I can use it in a moment. And for that moment, Juwan got into a more prepared position than a textbook. He wanted to put all his strength into this moment. Because you don't always have to use your full strength. Just stay focused on the goal. Right at the moment of greatest need. It was like a violent explosion. Young-won put strength into his arm. Muscles emerged. Rolling lightning shot out, blinding eyes. Saw the blue light rushing towards me. The mudman seemed to be stiff with glue. Can't react anymore. But Juwan used a trick. The massive transformation completely tore apart every particle of mud. The stubborn dough. Turning the mudman into a real pile of mud. The crumbs fall away. Until the last moment of my life. He still looked at Juwan with unbelievable eyes. I thought it would simply blow away. Just you is enough. And this is the smile of a winner. If you win, there's no point in crowing, right? On the other side is more peaceful. Several rows of houses have not been demolished yet. Seems like this pair of cards. Not encountering many misfortunes. Like Zhu-won and I am. Meanwhile, the two of them are poor because of that mudman. Well, here Skyliso is even in a teasing mood. Zombie, aren't you too cautious? Eyelashes are still tense. If you want, you don't have to be careful. Then I need to trust you first. You are, by the way, talking about the issue of trust. You should always ask directly. Tell me why you infiltrated the Union. If you want to catch evil people, you don't need to do that. Scaberto smiled helplessly. Yes, you're right. Our relationship. Not confident enough to talk about this. Zombie also agrees with this. She looked over. Suddenly he discovered something and told him to wait a moment. Zombie pointed to that building. How come Scaberto still doesn't understand what zombies mean? It's the only building with power. Through the window a light glimmered. Scaberto heard that. I just suggested they go over there and take a look. He couldn't help but feel cold. Thank you, this girl also has good eyes. Two people found the door leading inside. But it was securely locked by chains. But this cannot make things difficult for the two heroes. Scaberto just needs to turn his hand into bone and then chop it off. It's a pitiful broken chain. Inside is a fairly tidy room. And many documents. Mechanically everything seems to be normal. They don't cut off the electricity here. Zombies look suspicious everywhere. The problem she is wondering about. Scaberto didn't know how to answer. He flicked the light switch and then came to a conclusion. It's not like this place has its own power generation source. This is just an office. It seems more and more suspicious. Thanks to his keen eye, Chomi saw a black door again. It has nothing to do with the room. She didn't say anything and immediately split the wall to open the door. The scene inside shocked Chomi. What is it? Scaberto also came to see. He was also so surprised that he cried out loud. Behind the suspicious iron door, there's almost an entire factory filled with bullets there. Inside the glass containers, all to feed the monsters. There are also surgical equipment and blood stains. Yumi looked around for a while then asked, "This is a research facility, right?" There is also a file on the table. Scaberto read them and then spoke. An extremely inhumane place. It is a type of biological laboratory. Who would do something like this? Zombies circle around. Again, the computer was still on. I immediately came in like a fly to take a look. But if you want to see it, it's not that easy. Please be gentle with your password. This is also a common thing. How? Can be silly enough to not have a secure password. But I'll probably have to bring my computer back to the school to unlock it. Zombie is still thinking. Scaberto stepped in to handle it. Just 2 notes. The computer is opened and the welcome window appears. How do you know the password? Scaberto generously explained this time. A total of 53 test subjects, most of whom had appointments. The subjects are all incompetent vegetable people. And I'm sure the scope is bigger than we think. Doesn't sound like much of an explanation. Seeing myself being fed butter. Zombies have a temper but don't have diarrhea. Immediately used his ability to poke Siliso in front of him. Get his attention and demand a proper answer. How do you know the password? On this side, Juwan completely destroyed the Mudman. Look at the hole I left on the road. Juwan exclaimed that he was overdoing it. That's right after a war. The person suffering the most is this road surface. But he didn't care much and just exclaimed, "This is the first time I have to face someone like this. So it's a bit of a surprise." Only then did Juwan remember. Young comrades Iam are buried in mud. Turning around, I saw the little girl sleeping soundly. Sleeping out of control. Truly a highly adaptable person. Turning mud into a sleeping bag is pretty cool. Stealing like that is considered safe and sound. Anyway, it seems like there are a lot of crazy people. And yet we got caught up in a situation. With great trouble, Juwan found a broken walkie-talkie. But I don't know where it came from. Looks like the Mudman dropped it. Hidoro suddenly had such a strong shock. Someone contacted the Mudhead. So he still has accomplices. The guy that Juwan just sent off to the west. Name Hodorohu. Juwan quickly turned into him. I just dealt with the heroes. I understand it's the same here. There is also a man and a woman. Go into the lab again. I will detonate a bomb inside to knock down the entire building. Heaven, man and woman. He said it was definitely Yumi and Solito. Which building is it?
Suddenly he forgot.
He intended to pretend to be stupid so that the gauze would cover the saint's eyes. But the other side is too smart. You're not a Hito, are you? He immediately hung up the phone. Juwan still wanted to save the situation, but it was too late. If there are still many crazy people, or names like Hito, then Chomi and Scaberto are in danger. Back to the civil war between the two of them. Yumi is still very stressed. If you can't explain right away, right now. Scaberto turned his hand into white bones again, then rushed straight behind the zombie. To fight against dark powers. Prepare to attack her. Zombies are still surprised. I don't understand what the hell he's doing. Looks like it's not just the two of us here. Skyliso explains. After blocking the attack just now, his bone-enhanced hand, the coating has disintegrated. Solito looked at the pile of broken bones and wondered. Just hit something. But the destructive power is so terrible. and the owner of that power is scratching the wall. The wall cracked, making the building structure also become fragile, and gradually collapsed. Zombies realized they intended to knock down the building. A large rock fell from the ceiling right above my head. 2 people. Solito smacked his lips and kicked Chomi out of the danger zone. Chomi did not have time to react further. Then, Saberto was completely buried by the boulders on the ceiling. Blood flowed from inside, making Chomi extremely worried. Name Solito. Dumbly, I wondered who it was that turned out to be you, Chomi. I heard you were sent to the Union. A guy with a white face like a vampire appeared at the door. He is also an accomplice of the Hollow Mudman, and the one who brought down this building. And the most surprising thing is, he and the zombie are acquaintances. Zombie really gets angry when he takes action, without letting her know. It is said that she uses her superpower of darkness to turn into sharp tentacles. Attack the white-faced guy. If you hear anything, you should tell me too. The white-faced guy kicked that black tentacle without hesitation. Use your ability to fight back. The zombie's black tentacles were struck by green lightning. Shock and splash. You mean you're going to die here anyway? He calmly said that, causing the zombie to stiffen with glue. 15 years ago, Zombie was still Kim Seo-jeon, an ordinary female student. Right now she is carefully counting every penny of the slush fund. Then stick the envelope back into the book. When it was over, she seemed very happy. Seo-jeon. A woman's voice startled her. You don't go to school? That person was Seon's mother Yumian, looking at her mother's face distorted. Soyeon ran worriedly to see what was wrong with her mother. That guy hit me again. The lullaby mother still tried to force a smile. It's okay, I'm fine, but I'm sorry. Seo-jeon looked at her like that and made her sad too. She wants to say that mom doesn't need to apologize to her child. But I can only pretend like nothing happened. Seo-jeon tightened the straps of her mother's backpack so gently. The school. I'm sure I don't want it, Seo-jeon. My scores are good enough to get into a good university. The teacher seemed very sorry for her situation. But Seo-jeon was determined. It's okay, I will go to work right after graduating. She smiled resiliently. After finishing talking, Seoyeon was walking down the street. Then my friend came to hug me. Hello, the best student in school. Are you going to the council room again? When will I be loved by my teacher like you? God, if you're willing to study, you'll probably be able to do it. It turned out that she already had a mixed beak from this moment on. Hey, Seo-jeon complains about how hot you are. I want to quit school so bad. Are you planning to go anywhere on vacation? My dad keeps asking to take the whole family camping. What a bother. If you can't eat enough, you won't be able to eat at all. Seo-jeon smiled and said to her friend, I just stay at home, it's so great, I wish I could be like you. The girl greeted Seo-jeon across the street. Seo-jeon told herself that it was okay. Then run straight to the part-time job. She works as a waitress at a restaurant. Seo-jeon tried so hard, just because he wanted to stay away from the man at his house. After working until late at night, Seo-jeon received her salary. Count carefully the entire distance. The girl shouted excitedly. Enough, and add the money I saved at home. That's enough to rent a room. The first thing she immediately thought of was to take her mother with her. Then mother and child will live happily together. I'm back. At this time there was only one large man left in the house. Angry, everything was thrown around. What's going on? Don't you know your mother ran away? Where did you get that money? Seo-jeon froze when she heard about money. She thought it wasn't like that. Seo-jeon left behind the man's angry call. Go straight to 6 to find the book. She hid the money but lost it all. Ears ringing, and my eyes are blurred when faced with the truth. That her dear mother took away all the money. But I have to work very hard to save money. Until Seo-jeon was brutally dumped by that man. She fell to the floor with a thud. Seo-jeon still did not protest. He again used vulgar language to curse her for looking. Ignoring the old man went crazy. He continuously kicked Seo John's body and asked his mother, "Where are you?" She was in a daze, but he didn't even know, so how could she know? Seo John contracted on the floor. Wonder, can I escape this hell? She wanted to run away. Run far away from this place. She wants to escape from here. Strong will has awakened superpowers. Man. Being attacked by black tentacles caused panic. Stepping back, Seo John realized her dark power. She was surprised, then quickly accepted it. Her hair turned purple and her nails turned black. Okay, this is enough, Seo John said gloomily. Afterward, the black tentacle immediately rushed towards that miserable man. Even though he panicked, Seo John only had one thought in her mind right now. You ruined my life. Just need that thing to go away. And even though he kept screaming, Seo John controlled those black tentacles. Let him return to heaven. But come back. In reality, the vampire was still talking. He is quite well known in the Guardian, and so talented that John TC also kept him as a henchman. Why did you deliberately let sand capture you? What were you thinking? The person who should ask that question should be me. Yumi was really angry. She immediately dispatched dark tentacles. Touch this guy. The vampire let out a growl. Your face is still as cold as money, touching the capacitor near it. Immediately the capacitor exploded, pulling the wall down. Down he breaks everything that touches the star's body. But Yumi doesn't care. There was no way he could touch her. That's for sure. But the shadow tentacle was touched by the vampire. Wherever you go, you will be exhausted. Decomposition spreads. And quickly approached Yumi's feet. She realized he had just stepped on her shadow. Yumi quickly fell under the vampire's green power. Half-body jerked. To the point of collapsing. You didn't expect it, did you? Only then did she realize. This guy is no ordinary villain. But why is that so? She couldn't explain it. He reached out and touched Yumi's head. Now I haven't had time to say goodbye to you yet. The vampire received a punch. The thunder came from Juwan's location. Luckily, he arrived in time. At least, Yumi waved a friendly hello to the world. But when you come, it is also possible that we all greet each other cordially. Not determined to win with this world. The vampire name was also quite surprising. Juwan's whole body was shocked. Gritting teeth. Don't you dare put your hands on my eyelids. He looked angry like he had a crush. If him like that, it's terrible. But when I looked back at my fist, Juwan just realized it was burned black. Above, there were almost blue electric rays. He even had feelings. It's not my hand anymore. This is the price of not thoroughly understanding your opponent. But I rushed into it. The white-faced guy asked him again. You're new at the Union. Don't know what's going on. Chaomi was defeated too easily. It was her who put her head in the trap. Don't wait for him to finish speaking. Juwan's fist went straight to the face. I don't know how many pounds of chalk were put on it. Juwan doesn't want to talk. Let your fists do it for you. While the white-faced guy hugged the mosquito net. I don't understand why this new young man is so excited. Then Juwan punched again. If he backs away, he won't give up. Just like that, the shaft hits continuously. Finally, it was defeated with one blow. Right in the middle of the white-faced guy's belly. Finish this combo attack. Juwan's arm also hung down as if it was about to become paralyzed. The white-faced guy stooped and hugged his stomach. This time he didn't even want to say anything. Activate the ability to explode the wall next to Juwan. Youngwon was coughed up by the dust. As soon as I looked clearly, I saw a white hand like an albino. Black smoke enlarged right above my head. Juwan responded quickly. Immediately retreated and raised his injured arm to support him. But he was still attacked by the vampire. Make the shoulder burn black. Can't wait for him to moan. Then the white-faced man's hand approached again. I was about to hit him in the face in response to the previous attack. But Zhu-Won jumped away in time. He immediately pounced on the ground to transmit his power, causing Zhu-Won to still get hit. Even though he didn't touch me, Ju-Won was hit in the stomach by him. A piece of flesh was completely black. It hurts to the point of crying. Now you see how strong this guy is. You can't even use names you've fought against to compare with him, but nothing can stop him from charging forward now. Juwan is like a horse freed from the bridle, stubbornly rushed to punch the white-faced guy. He dodged the attack as easily as eating candy without even the slightest scratch. Young-won also knows, if you continue to fight, then the situation will not be in your favor. But still punching and kicking. Then I used both hands to grab it and couldn't catch it. But it's so annoying to say the least. So if it was a direct punch then, why would he enhance his strength? Juwan brain thought. Hands in action. Right away. Ship went to the white-faced guy with a thunderous punch. This attack has enormous damage. So when that fist passed by, that vampire's face had to wonder, what kind of ability is this? Which could cause his arms to burn as well. But he didn't have time to think of it. Juwan threw another thunderous punch. Whiteface thinks this game has become much more interesting. He still dodged Juwan's punch. But one arm was punched until it was deformed. Oh, he seems quite interested in this injury. But it seems he doesn't want to get involved any further. You should take out the walkie-talkie. Has Hiru finished collecting 10 samples yet? Hiru thought he was logged out but could still reply yes. Soon he will try to drag himself to pieces. Take the white circles and the walkie-talkie. Okay, I'll go there quickly. White face prepares to leave. But Juwan doesn't want him to get his wish. But determined to the end. White face stomped on the ground. Causes the ground to explode widely. The floor collapsed. Both Juwan and Yumi are in free fall. But at this time, Yumi was unconscious due to Juwan's efforts. Called her but in vain. He looked at the white-faced man without emotion. Standing on the edge of the hole. Look at his expressionless face. Gritting his teeth, he cursed his mother. Then I turned to call you to wake up quickly. Just called. No matter what, she's still in a trance and sinks deep. In her dream, Yumi returned to when she first woke up. Power and used it to skewer his father. However, she didn't even give him a shot. But it only scratches the outside skin. He kept begging to stop. Seo John approached and called him dad. Then he gritted his teeth and shouted again. My life is ruined and it's all because of you. I'm sorry, Seoyeon. I'm sorry, my son said tremblingly. Should have been done a long time ago. Of course that expression. Seoyeon's anger cannot be appeased. Which made her even more crazy. People like you. A trash person like you definitely shouldn't live. Tentacles of darkness continuously skewered his body. But it only leaves a wound in addition. Seoyeon's state right now is almost crazy. At this moment justice appeared. And stopped Seoyeon's attack on her father. Seoyeon immediately recognized the man standing in front. My face right now is justicey. I understand you are feeling very angry. But we also know. I don't want to deal with him like this. I just want to avoid this situation. Shut up, you know what to do to leave me alone. Seo John said angrily. Right now she seems to be struggling mentally. But Justicey still didn't stop. He knew he needed to comfort this hurting girl. Leaving is such an easy atonement. Don't let your father be freed from his sins. As simple as that. Instead it'll take you there. You can learn how to use your powers. Jodasai calmly plucked the thorns of darkness. Pin on my shirt. And said words of encouragement to the excited girl. Seoyeon was stunned. When she woke up, she saw Justine's shadow calling her. But looking closely, it's Juwan. I just mistook Lee Juwan for falling. Saya, please wake up. Yumi's ears rang with the sound of Juwan. But zombies just feel so stupid. She thought so and then fainted again. Even though Juwan tried his best to wake her up. Please wake up. Even though Juwan tried his best to shake and call. She was still in a trance and deep in thought. I keep calling her but she's still there. Not awake. Juwan begins to consider the unfavorable situation at hand. Now Juwan remembers Salido. Since coming here, I have not seen a trace of him. Didn't I run away and leave Yumi here? Turning around, I saw a hand wearing a punctured condom. Lost 2 fingers in the rubble. Juwan immediately recognized it as Saberto. He quickly went to dig through the rubble. Come on, I'm here. If you can hear me, say something. Of course he couldn't answer, so Juwan continued monologuing. The whole building collapsed on him. And if he was lying here, what the fuck is that? Juwan started to think. Eyelash stylist and his family. Everyone involved with me ends up in this situation. Juwan cried and wondered. Oh my god. I'm so worried about digging out the Scaberto. Why think so much there? Unfortunately, Juwan can't stay awake anymore. But prepare to hit the bottom of pain with Eric. Damn, it can't be. Juwan kneels on the ground, putting your hands on your forehead, thinking negative thoughts. He does look like this. Half step through the ghost gate. Then we have to work hard to come back and not want to leave. Thank you for crying, but I'm not poor yet. Salido poked his face out of the rubble. But smile at Juwan. He exclaimed excitedly. I knew right away that he was still alive. Let me pull you out. Right now. Juwan saw something that shocked him. Below the pile of bones and Siliso's body. It's a computer with the screen and hard drive still intact. I'm okay, what is this? Juwan asked only to see Saberto smile mysteriously. Some important things. Thanks for protecting these important things. But we all immediately got a ticket to the hospital to rest. The person with the lowest disability is Juwan. Luckily, we don't have to close them here. But you have to drag yourself. Went to visit my 2 unlucky companions. The problem is that he went to visit the sick. But I don't know which room my friend is in. I tried using Matcha Google Maps, but it still didn't work. At that moment, a nurse came out and asked who he was looking for. Juwan instinctively said the name Middle Eyelashes. But that's her superhero name. As for the real name, Date knows. Juwan had to rely on the nameplate on the door to answer. Nurse. Imesio John's guardian and I came to visit. The nurse heard that and immediately smiled. Oh, so it's her guardian. She just woke up and still needs more rest. Already awake? Juwan seemed surprised at this speed of recovery. He thanked the nurse and rushed straight into the room to take care of you. Ignore the nurse in the back telling you to wait a bit. Another nurse appeared from somewhere and asked who it was. The short-haired woman said Juwan doesn't look like her boyfriend. Or Krushta. The girl with short hair blushed and guessed randomly. The bun-haired woman couldn't hear it, just admired it. The body is so beautiful that it's scary to look at your eyes just inside. Juwan loudly called too. The hospital has regulations to maintain order. Right now the zombie is sitting on the bed. The burned cheek was bandaged. Juwan rushed to worship her on her hospital bed.
Good luck, zombie.
I just think this guy is overdoing it. There's no emotion at all. Juwan is still wet. She almost went to visit her grandparents. Anyway, I'm glad she survived. He scratched his head and smiled like an idiot. But this smile can make Yumi blush and feel moved. But still stubbornly told him to stop. Juwan suddenly woke up and asked about Yumi's current condition. The girl who just said that she was fine just had internal injuries. The next sentence vomited blood, making Juwan scared white. It's okay, Annie 6. Stop trying so hard and lie down and rest. Juwan advised him. Make it for you. Think about being in the villain's lair. Remember when the little boy panicked? Called me awake in a panic, How long are you gonna call my hero's name? Juwan showed an expression of not understanding what she meant. Yumi blushed again, avoiding Juwan's gaze and speaking.
Just call me Seo Jin.
Using the name Yumi in front of others is very strange. It sounded reasonable, so Juwan agreed. Zombie remembered Salito again. Ask Juwan his condition. Anyway, it's not too scary. Just wrap a bandage around your body and use a ventilator. Nothing much. Can't go visit King of Hell for now. Zombie looked at his condition. But at the moment I couldn't say anything. So Juwan's words from the side were grimacing and babbling. He was extremely seriously injured. Ribs and internal organs were crushed by the rubble. But thanks to him, the computer keeps it. All laboratory information has been seized. Sioyo looked at him, wondering why Stylisto had to risk his life like that. Because I really want to catch them. Stylito is a member of Leo Kondo, right? That's why he hates evil people. I don't know when I arrived. Just helped 2 people answer their questions. Even worse, when they experimented on humans again. She sadly said that the specimens also became bad guys. One doesn't understand what she means by specimen. I am saying Siliso real name is T. He and she grew up together. An orphanage. Amium has adapted to his abilities. Quickly. Meanwhile, Teo was isolated in a corner because he didn't show any of his abilities. Juwan opened his eyes in surprise. It's not like Siliso has the ability. His bones are so scary. Smiled bitterly. Now that's it, he's been kidnapped by some bad guys. At that time I was surrounded by strong men. Press down on the floor. Not for gaming. It's to inject something into your body. After injection, the body immediately reacts strongly. Saying T had to endure being experimented on. Cruel on the body. Maybe he felt very stuck at that time. So what happened to the villains? Juwan wondered. They hid for 15 years. But recently it started to appear again. That's why he insisted on calling someone. Made him what he is now. Juwan looked at Saberto, who was temporarily on a ventilator. The mood is so complicated that it's beyond words. Later he went out into the hallway. Sit and look at your injured hand. Thank you for being able to recover quickly. Now my hand is a bit crippled. Just listening is not enough for me to master it. It would be great if I could learn more from others.